Okay, we are recording.
Okay, I think we're live. Hi,
Yeah.
everyone. So wonderful to be with you guys again. Really, really much so, feeling that way. And so wonderful also to be in touch with my beautiful and very wise soul sister, Betty Ann Golden. I'm
Hi.
Linda Riley, and this is our podcast, Your Heart of Love. And my goodness, the aim of this podcast, ever since we put that out there, the aim of this podcast is for all of us to deepen into greater love and joy and abundance, all those good things that we have available to us. If we open up to them, that is, of course, right?
Exactly.
And, I think that what prompted this discussion about trust was going through all of our recordings that we've done so far and looking at all the various topics we've talked about that we felt were uh, very important to if you're looking to deepen into greater love and joy and abundance, that these are things that you might want to look at. We might want to examine, we might want to make better, we might want to make some changes, that sort of thing. And I noticed that we hadn't talked about trust. And oh my goodness, trust is just such a huge component here. Really, trust is love. I mean, when you trust life, you trust yourself, you trust the creator, you trust God, whatever label you want to attach, the universe. Again, just to reiterate that we are not, and we are not coming from a religious standpoint here. When we use the term God, we're talking creator, we're talking about, spirit, we're talking about life, that kind of thing. And when we open up, when we deepen into this greater trust within ourselves, within like I said, with the creator, with other people, just with life generally, we open up, we are opening up our hearts to receiving more love and joy and abundance into it. So yeah, we want to talk about that. And to start off, I just want to just a little bit of a sidebar, and I want to get my beautiful soul sister's opinion on this too. That when it's this morning, when I was just contemplating what we could talk about when it comes to trust and that sort of thing. And this idea of deepening into this aim of our podcast to become more loving and more joyous and, more into all of that really good stuff that, there's so much going on in the world right now. And we really, I think personally, what I'm doing with myself is, because I want greater love in my life, is I'm looking at, how do I deepen into that? I mean, I already have a lot of love in my life. And I think that if you've been listening, you know that we both, Betty Ann and I, have been on a journey to deepen our level of love. And but how, like, life is a journey of continual deepening in and expansion and stuff like that. And what came up for me this morning was I just happened to open up Facebook, and I'm not a Facebook user typically, but I just happened to open it up. Oh, to register for something was via Facebook. So I looked at a post from somebody that long-standing friend of mine, somebody that I knew from the past, and who has actually very, very strong political views, which are fine, that sort of thing, right? But what I noticed was, and what I've noticed with this person and other people, is that this profession of being very spiritual and being very loving and being, oh, we're all one, and, you know, all this sort of stuff, I noticed, and I'm not saying, I'm including myself in this. I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, right? It's just something we all need to examine. That there's just a lack of love, like this separation, this almost hatred to people that don't have the same views as we do, right? Like almost this blind, all these blinders when it comes to noticing or calling a spade, that this is not love when we do this. This is not love. This is what I believe we're called right now in these unique, chaotic times that we're in, to really individually, each of us, because we're all part of the collective, to take our own journeys into greater love. If we want the world to be a better place, if we want the world to be more loving, we want people to get along, we got to really step up ourselves, because that's where it comes from. The micro, reflects the macro, right? Affects the macro, absolutely, right?
Right.
So, there's a lot of not loving going on right now. And I mean, I caught myself just having a reaction to this, what this person had to say, because she doesn't believe what I believe, and it was like, oh my goodness, like I'm doing this, like I caught myself, but like I'm doing this, I don't want to do that, I don't want to be this person, that is like pitting person against person, and judging somebody because they don't necessarily believe what I believe, or whatever. And it's like, holy, right? Just, there's a lot of this going on, and it's very subtle.
I don't know about subtle.
Well, a lot of us, I think, like people like you and I, and probably our listeners that are looking, becoming more and more conscious of, putting more love out there and being more loving themselves, leading
I,
happy lives.
yeah, I think it sometimes shocks us, but I'm trying to figure out how to relate this to trust.
Well,
So,
I'd like, yeah,
yeah,
I'd like to actually say what I mean, to go on with that as to how it relates to trust.
yeah.
Because for myself in this instance, my trust and my belief, because I think trust is belief. When you trust something, you believe it, right? You're trusting it, you're believing that it's true, that it's the truth for you, is
Hmm.
what it is, right? And the truth for me is that we are going through a transition here on planet Earth. We are, in my, what I'm trusting is that we are developing a greater consciousness on Earth. That is what's going on. Right now, we're going through some troubled times, but I think that that's just part and parcel of this general movement towards being a more conscious humanity, more loving, more joyous, more of these wonderful things that we all want to live by and live in, right? So I got to trust in this process that this is actually what's happening.
Well, and I think if we list, excuse me, if we do some reading and of old, um, the great thinkers, and if you, they all, even successful people will tell you that in order to become great, you have to experience the tough times so that you appreciate the good times. But it's not how what's happening to you. I just listened to somebody this morning. It's not what's happening to you, whether it's bad, good, indifferent, but it's how you react to what you see, hear, or experiencing. So if troubled times are upon you, or you're struggling with an issue or with someone else's opinion you don't like, you need to be able to not react, but to trust that that is supposed to either awaken you to a bigger picture, or it's to make you aware of more of who you are. And I always like to say, is this making me feel loved, or is it making me feel good? Or is this thing that I'm experiencing making me feel really bad? And if I'm not feeling good, that means that it's not something for me. Doesn't mean that it's something for someone else. It doesn't mean that it's not something that's going on. It means that for me, I need to let it go. And so I have to trust in my own judgment on who I am and what love, and do I love myself? Am I actually um, feeling the energy that I want to have? So anytime lately, especially anytime that I have this feeling of aggravation or agitation or anger or resentment, I try to evaluate before I speak. Now, that doesn't happen all the time. A lot of times I do react and then step back and go, I'm sorry. That's not me. It was a reaction. Maybe it was hormonal at the time. Maybe it was the planets in the universe that were just
Yeah.
whatever. But sometimes I do react, and it's not a pretty picture. I don't like when I react. I like it when I'm able to take a breath and compose myself to say, if this feels good, I can go ahead and say what I want to say. If I don't feel good about it, I'm better off allowing it to go through its process. So it's kind of like someone said, I believe it was yesterday, someone said, it's not a matter, it's energy. So you need to pass through the energy to get to the other side. So if it's static energy, meaning not feeling good to you, you need to just breathe and allow it to go through so that it doesn't get stuck. And when we react, we catch the energy and it attaches to us. So then we can't think clearly, we can't love anymore at that moment. So we need to actually just take the time to be aware of whether we're reacting or acting on our own feelings, true judgment of who we are. Because I think that's the biggest thing about trust. It's, who do you trust? You need to trust yourself. And if you're not trusting yourself, then it's just like love. If you're not loving yourself, you can't love anybody else. You can't trust anyone else. You can't do anything. It's understanding what is your heart of love that you feel is good, that makes you feel good. And those are the things we need to become more and more aware of. So when we don't feel well, when we feel the opposite, we have to go, whoa, okay, breathe and analyze, is this something worth making your blood pressure raise? Or is this something worth just stepping back and going, saying nothing sometimes?
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's not a matter of giving in, and it's not a matter of agreeing with something you don't like. It's a matter of just letting it go and allowing. Sometimes we have to allow people to talk and just go, okay, that's okay. That's how you feel. I respect you, you know, and even though I don't agree with you,
Yes,
you
that's
know,
right. That's where
that's the hardest thing.
that's where we I think we're being called, all of us, to come closer to being that way. If
Yeah.
what we want is peace on earth, a higher consciousness,
Then we have
um,
to be it.
we are exactly, we have to be it. We have to be it and recognize it in ourselves. And it's okay. Like even today, I mean, it was okay that I caught myself and I went there. And, so what? It lasted for a few seconds until, bang, I
You
realized
realize you
the
were feeling.
folly of what I was doing, how, in terms of what you've been talking about, how far away that was from my heart of love for, the way that I want to be and the way that I want to conduct myself. And that I do want to be a loving person. Being a loving person is accepting that we live in a
Unconditionally.
hodgepodge, right, of people. I mean, we all are people, we all are the same that way, we're all connected, we're all different. And the mutual respect, even though you're not aligned necessarily in thought or belief or values with people, that for your own sake and for humanity's sake, because everything is connected, we really need to, in my opinion anyway, what I'm doing with myself is just really need to keep remembering to be loving as much as I can. And God, the universe is helping me out with that. It knows what I want. It knows that this is the person that I am becoming and I want to continue to become, and gives me an opportunity, right, to see it and to
Yep.
make a choice.
Yes.
Make a choice as to how, like you were talking about, how you're going to respond versus react to that,
Yep.
you know?
And you have to trust your judgment. So
Yes.
you you have to first believe in who you are and make sure it's coming from love, because that's truth. If you feel, if you don't have anger when you're speaking from truth. If you have anxiety or you're feeling, we call it below the line, um, you're frustrated, your your uh, your blood pressure is starting to rise and you have to raise your voice, and raising your voice is not a problem, but when you're raising it in anger or frustration or whatever, there's something wrong that's not in alignment with who you are. So
Yeah.
you're not um, you're not being in that love state. You're being in an anger, hate state, and fear, because everything boils down to two things: love and fear. So if you're not in love, you're in fear. You're one way, because there's multiple ways to be in fear, you know.
Yes.
Fear of someone not loving you, fear of someone hating you, or you hating that person because you feel that that's going to happen and come back to you or whatever. And we do all kinds of crazy things as human beings, but that's when we need to start becoming aware of who we are, you know.
Yeah.
And the more we love ourselves, the more we don't want to be in that
No.
space. So we start to recognize how often we are in that fearful hatred space.
Right.
And
And
when,
like you said, you can feel it, right? We can feel when we're there. Like
oh
the
yeah,
body, everything's
body,
our body, mind, and soul is all connected, and we feel
yeah,
crappy. Like it doesn't feel good, right?
no. And so, like, I think I've said it before, but years ago, probably 15 years ago, I think it was 20 years ago, Bob and I started made it conscious, because we started becoming aware that when we were doing something, um, it was not, we didn't like it, and we were saying to ourselves, this doesn't feel good anymore. So we made a promise to ourselves that no matter what it is, we need to ask ourselves, does this make it feel good? Do we feel good about it? Or is it giving us anxiety within us, or anger, or even just that little slight? It's okay to have fear for trying something new and being anxious about that. But I'm talking about on the hatred side, that fear of, not fear of doing something fun, but or strategic, or for business or for yourself to do something new. But it's the fear of, that's created by anger, fear that something's going to happen because this is happening, and oh my gosh. But do you really have control over whatever it is outside of yourself? No, none of us do. I don't
No,
care who it is.
no.
It's how much the masses believe in it that makes the movement. And do you want that? Do we want to feel good, or do we want to feel not good?
We
You
have
know,
to really care about how we feel.
yeah.
And that
And we have that choice, like you
we
said.
want
We have,
joy, right? I mean, you can't be feeling happy and joyous when you're not feeling good about whatever it is that you're choosing in
it's
that
only
moment,
you either feel good or you feel bad.
right?
There is no in between.
Right.
And when you're in between, people will say, "Oh yeah, well I don't feel anything." Well, then there's something wrong there. It's like, okay, then there's something wrong. Either you're not feeling good about something that's not allowing you to feel good, because the emotion of feeling good and in love and everything is can't exist if there's any doubt. It
No,
doesn't. You can't have both.
no, they're not. You
Same time.
can't be feeling them simultaneously. They don't happen together. It's
No.
one or the other,
Mhm.
right?
So when you analyze yourself sometimes, and say, well, how am I feeling right now? Well, maybe I'm feeling a little anxious because I'm not really sure how someone's going to react to me when I tell them something and I have to tell them, or, and then you go, okay, let's analyze this. Is it because you have to, the because you feel that you want to tell the truth, or are you saying it because you need to take that person out of your life? Those are decisions that you need to say, are you doing it for the betterment of you and that person? Because if you're always bumping heads, then you need to talk about it. And if it doesn't
Yeah.
work, okay, it doesn't work. And even like there's a lot of people that are good friends that are no longer friends anymore. But sometimes you leave a relationship, and it could be years later, all of a sudden you find yourself together again, um, in a different life, because everybody's changed
Yes.
and everybody is in a different moment of their life at every moment. So um, I I personally feel that you really need, the only simple way to do this, if you need to change, is to say to yourself, okay, I want to change for the better. So that means I need to see how I have to view this challenge in a loving way. So, do I need to look at that challenge in me? What is that? What am I feeling that's bringing that anger or that frustration or not feel good feeling? Um, what is it? Is it because whatever it is that's happening is something I do and I'm not recognizing that? It's the same thing. So then I have to change what I do. Okay. And when I change me, everything else changes. And this is the other thing. If you're watching, that's the problem with social media. As much as social media was really cool at connecting with people you hadn't seen for a long time, you didn't have their phone numbers anymore, and you found people. It was really great when it was just about fun. But now, unfortunately, it's used to propagate. It's used to voice opinions, which is fine, but it's not fine when you tear people down in order to do it. It's just like you wouldn't want someone out there tearing you down when you feel you did something right. Now
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
would
exactly.
come to you and say, "Hey, okay, we don't seem to align, but let's discuss this." You know, now that's a better way to do it. But in social media, everybody wants to be seen and
And
heard.
heard. Yeah.
They make the big deal out of whatever it is. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. Some people
Yeah.
post things that they don't really even care about. They just do it to get likes, to get comments, to get, and it's really unfortunate that a good thing has turned to not the
It's
greatest.
the downside of it. Like you just talked about all the upside of it and how that, connects it can connect us all,
Yes,
right? Which is wonderful to
yeah,
have that. I mean, remember you and I when we were younger, the only way that we connected with people was either in person or
or
on
right
the
there,
telephone,
or if
you
you knew
know,
the newspaper.
our letters, writing snail mail before there
Yeah,
was any internet or
yeah,
email, that sort of thing. So it is a wonderful thing, but the downside of it is that it can, bring about all these other things that we're talking about. And
I
it's
know.
going to do that. I think that that's part of the process too, for us to recognize that, people are going to use it for these purposes and
Yes,
to allow that, to
yeah,
allow it.
and let
And
them
like
go.
you were talking about, not
Yeah,
react to it,
don't
right?
react to them. Just let them go on.
Yeah.
And let it be, because they say the more you, it's like someone was telling me about a meditation they do every day, and it's a worldwide one, and they do it, and they said that you put in the circle what you want to see. So you want to see this person healthy, you want to see something good, because they're not right now, they're sick and everything. Don't focus on what they are right now, focus on the good, focus on what you want to change, what you want to happen, as if they already are, and that will create the energy of prosperity, good health, wealth.
Abundance. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
just focusing on what you want to see and not what the problem is.
Right. What I want is I want to raise the level of love and, have these discussions with you and our audience about these topics so that we can all benefit and we can all, you know, do that in our own lives. And when we do that in our own lives, then, we affect the collective with it. Absolutely, for sure. Right. Like
Sure.
that's
So
what we want here. So there's a
absolutely.
huge amount of trust that's going into this whole process, without a doubt. And just want to go back to what you were talking about, really zoning in, focusing on like what we're feeling, and that feelings are an indicator as to where, we're at, and, putting putting emphasis on the fact that we do have a gift called intuition. We have gut feeling. We have these things.
Yep.
And it takes a whole amount, and it was part of my journey, which I'm sure was part of your journey, to learn to trust that, to
Yep.
trust that we have this inner guidance, to trust that we have given, I'm going to call it God given, creator given faculty of intuition. We all have it. Some of us use it a lot. I've learned to use it a lot and to trust it. And other people have not, and they don't believe in it, and that's fine too. This, don't believe in it, but it is my belief and my trust that we all have it. And
So,
to deepen into that relationship with it and to trust it, to learn to trust it, that it will guide you, right?
and I have an acronym for trust.
Oh, do you?
And I do. And trust is TRUST, to really understand self truth.
Hmm. Yeah. And this is the thing, it's the truth for you.
Yes. Because, or to rely upon self truth. Because I had one that also said to rely upon someone's truth. That's trusting. But I realized that you can't rely on anyone. You have to rely on yourself. You have to trust yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah, you really really do. I feel just like you do, that if we want to live better lives, we want to evolve, that's part of the process, is to learn to trust ourselves. And don't you think, Betty Ann, that learning to trust ourselves, we have to really go through the journey of finding out who we really are, like who we really are as humans, right? Like,
And
who are we
and
inside?
how do we do that? Through the challenges we face, the struggles we face, the like you had today, realization that, oh, that did not make me feel good. So now how do I not react, but how do I act upon who I am in this situation? So that's what we learned. That's, I feel, is what we're learning this this time in our life. We are
That's right.
learning, we're learning how to not react, but to act upon who we are,
That's
who we
right.
want others to see who we are. Do we want them to see that we're an angry bitch? No. I'm not.
Some people don't care. That's fine, whatever. But
Yeah,
you and I don't.
people might say differently. No. But in reality, no. We want to be known as someone who's loving, caring, considerate, even when
Yeah,
they don't agree with you. That they're there
yeah,
for you. And
yeah. And they're entitled. They're
that's
entitled to their opinion.
that's a true friend. When someone is able to say, you know what, I can't do this, I can't be a part of this anymore, or your discussion or whatever, but I'm not disliking you. I just want to let you know that when it comes to subjects like this, we disagree, and it's okay. It's okay. So let's agree to disagree and not discuss those things when we're together. That's all. And believe it or not,
Yes, and we
you can have
trust that
good
that's the
friends.
best
Yeah,
way.
we have good friends that we don't have the same ideology of life, but we're still friends. We still even get together and have fun together. So we just don't, we just eliminate that portion of
Yeah,
our.
stay off the subject of whatever it is that you don't have in common that way, right? Again,
Yep.
where's the focus, right? We talk a lot in the podcast about, where we're putting our focus.
Right.
And we need to put our focus on what it is we want. If that's what we want to bring in, that's what we need to have our attention on. And so why focus on the differences? Let's focus on what we have in common as humans, you know.
Your bird was talking,
Yes,
so he
my
was
friend,
agreeing with us.
he's agreeing with us, Betty Ann. He's just like, yeah, you guys, like there's some truth here to what you're saying, right? There's
You're good. You're
my
on the right.
fine feathered friend. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm
So
looking at the time, and we've tried to keep this within 35 minutes. Um, but I do want to say that this was a great talk. I will be honest, in the very beginning, I was tired, and for some reason, energy was struggling. And but I trusted that once we got on point and topic, that I would feel better. It's always great talking to you, Linda.
yeah,
Always.
I know. Well, we shifted our focus, right? And we had a little bit of a kerfuffle with the technical things going on as well, right? But
Yeah.
we
Oh,
just knew, we just trusted, like, because we know trust is a belief. It's what you believe. We knew that, and we trusted that once we got on and we started in this energy, we got in this energy of love, talking about more love, bringing more joy, and all of these good things, that it just elevates the energy, doesn't it?
yes, it does.
I feel the same way. It's wonderful. And we really, really want you guys to join in the conversation because, as we've been talking about, these are challenging times right now that we're going through. And, we need to band together. We want to band together, and we
Yes,
want to support you and vice versa, and talk about these issues that are close to the heart, and how we manage, how we navigate through these times right now that are very challenging. We're being challenged, all of us, on some sort of a level, personally, right? We definitely are. So, that's our aim here, is to, like, let's navigate this together and help each other out. So please do join in the conversation and
yes.
let us know what you're
So
thinking.
right now it's all recorded, but we promise we will eventually get on live.
Yeah,
And
we will for sure.
but
But,
it's been
there's no way that we can't, like, in the meantime, be discussing. Put your comments in, put your questions in.
send us
We're monitoring things.
yeah, log into our website at
Yes, absolutely.
artoflove.com, send us an email, contact us, um, and like and subscribe. And we will see you on the next one.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
All
And
right,
take
Lynn.
good care of yourself. Love
Yes,
yourself.
all of you.
Love one another, even
Yes.
if it's difficult. Okay, bye.
Bye.